So, ever since I joined the Victor football program, I started off with the JV team. We were undefeated. We were really good, but then the last game, we blew the lead against the RCSD team, the Monroe Red Jackets. The reason why we lost that game was pretty much because they had varsity players on their JV team, which those guys should have just played for like Edison. They should have just had the younger kids on the JV team, which basically that was like a you had one job. But then, when junior year came, I was ready to join the varsity team. I remember my very first practice with the varsity team. I remember the head coach of Victor's football team, Coach Mandel, he was like kind of talking about like, you know, introducing him, all the other coaches. And I remember like he was saying some rules like, you know, what we don't want to hear in the locker room. I don't want to hear the words gay, retarded, or any racial bigotry words such as the N-word and all that. Because if they hear any of those words, someone's going to get in really huge trouble. Really big trouble. So basically we started off, we went on the field, we kind of got a little ready. We didn't have pads in the first practice. We kind of just started off small. And then I finally met the head coach, Coach Mandel. He said, "Are you Jake?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." I got to be with my friend Z Money, Zach. And then there was another kid who was on the football team who was a team manager. He was more the equipment manager because he worked with more equipment. His name was Zach too. He had like, I don't know if he had autism or Asperger's syndrome, like what I don't know. I have ASD, but he had like something similar. I don't know. And the first game of the season, we were playing Aquinas. And I remember hearing about Aquinas the year before when I used to go to, when one of the bus drivers who used to drive me to Bosie's was saying like, Aquinas' fans, their parents are really mouthy. There's a lot of Italians that go there. You know how Italians are, and they're angry. They have a lot of city kids, and those city kids that go there are complete punks. She was saying like the area where Aquinas is located is filled with poverty and stuff like that. I was really looking forward to see what Aquinas is like, how their fans are like, because we are going to be playing them on our home field. I was looking forward to this game because ever since I heard about it towards the end of my sophomore year, I was saying like I want to teach these Aquinas kids like that Section 5 doesn't just revolve around you. It revolves around others. I remember we had a few tough opponents that season in the regular season. We had Pittsford. They were supposed to be really solid, and then we had Fairport. But I think that was the first time Victor ever played Fairport. I don't think they ever played them before. Those were supposed to be the two toughest opponents we've ever had. And I was ready for this season. I'd come to practice every day. I got to meet all the coaches. I met this one coach when he was wondering what I was trying to do, because every time the balls would go flying, I'd try to catch them. He's like, "What are you doing, buddy?" He's like, I don't know if he knew who I was, but I told him like, "Oh, my name's Jake. I'm going to be helping out with you guys this year." And he's like, "Hi, I'm Coach." He said his first and last name, Coach O. I'm not going to say his actual name. His last name started with an O, so I'm Coach O. And he said his first name, which I'm not going to say his first name, private. But, yeah. I met a lot of the coaches and stuff like that. I also met this one guy. He was a retired history teacher. He's also in charge of the town of Victor. I don't know. He does some role. I don't know. He said, "Hey, I didn't get a chance to meet you. What's your name again?" He said, "What's your name? Jacob?" I'm like, thing is, I don't like being called Jacob. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. He's like, "Oh, my name's Jake." I was like, "Oh, I'm coach. I'm not gonna say his name, but like, yeah, I was like thinking like, I think this is gonna be the best team that Victor's ever gonna have, because I remember my freshman year, the varsity team, they won the sectionals, but they lost in the Western regionals. I don't remember the Buffalo school they played against. I feel like it was either Sweet Home or I don't remember, to be honest. I feel like it was Sweet Home, but I doubt that very much. Yeah, we got smoked by them that year, and then the year before I came to varsity, the varsity team got knocked out of the playoffs by Rush Henrietta and stuff like that. And I remember my friend from BOCES insulting me about it and stuff like that. And we were playing them, and I was hoping that was going to be a taste of their own medicine. And yeah, that was like basically the beginning. I left for a little bit to visit my grandparents in Dunkirk, and where I filmed some of my ghost videos for my series called The Stories of the Haunted. I filmed, I think, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I guess, there. No, not 2, 3, 4. I think 4 through 5. I don't remember. But I knew when I would come back on that field, I'd be ready to go. So, when I came back, all the coaches were asking, like, how was your trip and stuff like that. And then the next day was the scrimmage. So in the scrimmage, we played, basically the same teams from when I was on JV, There was Monroe, there was Fairport, there was, who else? Mcquaid, and then Corning. So yeah, Fairport, Mcquaid, Monroe, and Corning. Yeah, those teams were there, and I remember when we scrimmaged against Mcquaid, I remember, like, they had that one quarterback, Hunter Walsh, and I was like, oh my gosh, that kid is like Joe Montana / Aaron Rodgers. He was going crazy. He was going all crazy and stuff like that, and I was like, wow, he's pretty damn good. And then when we scrimmaged Monroe, because most of the kids from my grade and maybe the grade below me, the 2019 players, most of them remember from the JV game. One of my friends who graduated with me, his name was Chris. He broke his leg during that game, and like all the Monroe fans were like cheering about it. I don't know why. Don't ask why. I don't know why they did that. But when we were about to scrimmage, Monroe, one of the players said, "Okay, Chris, you ready to break a leg?" Because he broke his leg during the game. And then like we were all laughing and stuff like that, because we all remember he broke his leg during that game. And I remember, Coach Muhammad, he was yelling and stuff like that, being all loudmouth and stuff like that. And I remember this one player from Monroe was all shouting, going all loudmouth and stuff like that. Like, he sounded like Lawrence Taylor, basically. He's being loudmouth and stuff like that. Or Richard Sherman, either one. And I remember, after that, we also scrimmaged Fairport and Corning. I don't remember Corning that well. I remember a little bit of Fairport. Like, they had a really huge kid. Like, the kid who was bigger than me. I remember after the scrimmage, a lot of the players were being really nice and stuff like that. Like, especially the Monroe players. I was nervous at first. I think I told one of them, like, hey, I remember you guys from last year when you guys scrimmaged me when I was on JVs. Like, and one of them said, oh yeah, they do remember me. I'm like, I think I said, I apologize for being upset after the game. He's like, it's okay. You were having fun. It's okay to have emotion. I remember the Monroe players were giving me fist bumps, I remember. That Monroe team was complete class. Like, they were really classy. They were being nice to me, my friend Z Money, they're being really nice. And then after, when I was ready to my mom was ready to pick me up after the scrimmage, I saw two of their players, one big kid and then their quarterback they had at the time. I forgot his name, but he was a short Puerto Rican kid. I can't think of his name, but he's like my age. He's a really nice kid. I think I only met him once. His name's like Andrew or something like that, or Anthony, I think it was. I don't remember his last name, but like, I told him and his friend, who was this kid who was probably like my age, he's a big kid. I said, hey, great job, great scrimmage, good luck the rest of the season. And they're like, thanks, you too, buddy. And then that was it. I remember, what else? All I can say is I was ready for, game 1 against Aquinas. I was so excited. I remember, there was this thing that that the football team used to do before games for Victor. We would have like a party at one of the players' houses. It was basically like a team dinner party. Those were fun. I remember like before the day before the game, like, the team captains were talking, and there was this one player, his name was Ryan Flights. Shout out to you. You were amazing. He said this, he's like, good God, I fucking hate Aquinas. I fucking hate Aquinas. I don't care how many state titles you guys won. Yeah, this section doesn't revolve around you. You act like you rule this section. Yeah, you don't. You act like you do, but you guys actually don't. And like, I remember like, they all went up, and I thought to myself like, okay, what are we gonna say? And all of a sudden they just said, fuck AQ on 3, and then they're all like, fuck AQ. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm gonna love this. And then we were ready. I went to the team dinner. It was at my friend Z Money's house. I just remember I was listening to my music. We had some hot dogs. It was pretty fun. I don't remember what I was doing. I was probably just listening to my music on my phone. Getting to know all the players and stuff like that. It was fun. I remember I was just really ready for tomorrow, and I knew it was going to be a night to remember. That's for sure. Like, I was ready. I remember I put on my number 18 varsity jersey, and I was ready to be with the team. I remember before the season, or I mean, not before the season, before the game, that crowd was big. It was like a Super Bowl. We had the whole Victor student section. I remember hyping them up, going all crazy and stuff like that, And I remember there was a little student section with like little kids, like probably like intermediate school, primary school kids. I remember hyping them up. They're all giving me high fives, going all crazy when I would come on by, and it was so fun. Like, I was hyping them up and stuff like that. And right when Aquinas' team ran onto the field, they were all booing like crazy. And I remember I shouted, "Fuck up!" And like these two girls heard it, and they were like laughing hysterically. I forgot what I said. I said, "Fuck those." I don't know. But here are some pictures from the game. The first game against Aquinas was really good. We stopped their offense multiple times. My favorite part was the last play of the game. Oh, there's a picture of me right there. There's a few pictures of me. There's two, actually. My favorite part was when we stopped Aquinas on 4th down on the last part of the game. And I remember that crowd reaction. Like, that was loud. Like, that was as loud as when the Giants stopped Tom Brady on 4th down in Super Bowl 42 and his Hail Mary pass in Super Bowl 46. It was a great game. Victor won 13-7, and I knew after that win that this Victor team is probably going to be the best one in Victor and Section 5 history. And then after the first win of the season, everyone was happy. I remember after the game, one of the coaches, his name was Coach Rucker, or we called Coach Ruck, he said this one quote he said this after every game, and I always, ever since I've heard him say it, I'm thinking about doing it for my assistant coaching career. After every win, he would say this: I just got one question for you. Everyone's all looking like, what? And then he shouts, "Do you have some fun out there?" And then we would all go crazy. And the first time I heard it, I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, who's this guy? And I remember, like, all I can say is I was ready for week 2 against Churchville-chili. We had practice at the Pinnacle Center in Victor because, I don't know, it was really hot out, so we had to have it in an indoor place. I just remember jamming out to my music during practice. I remember towards the end of what was it? Towards the end of the practice, I remember, I don't know if it was the same practice or not, but I remember one of the coaches we had, his name, I'll actually say his name, Coach Condon. He was a nice coach, actually. He's like, I think he does something for the town of Victor. I don't know if he's like the director, I don't know, whatever you call it. He told me a story, I think it was the first Victor team to win sectionals, which that was way back in the year 2000, the year I was born. If it was the same team, I don't know, but he said he remembers the first time Victor beat crosstown rival Canandaigua, and you know, he said he cried that night. You know, I don't remember the rest of the story, but like the game after that, they played Newark because we were a smaller team back when I was like really little, and then they just kept on going. You know, we were about to play Churchville. Churchville blew out HFL, Honeywell Falls Lima, on their first game, and, you know, and I was ready to go all the way over to the other side in Churchville and play them. I was looking forward to it. You know, they're all looking like, oh my gosh, they beat like one of the best teams of Section 5, and you know, and I remember that Friday. Well, I remember that Friday something happened, because I used to go to BOCES back when I was in school. Something happened at BOCES. I don't know what. Teacher aide yelled at me for no reason. I was really mad about it. I don't know. It was weird. I remember I just thought, like, you know what, the game is just gonna... I'm not gonna worry about that, because that's a little thing. I'm more worried about the game. I remember jamming out to music on the bus ride back and stuff like that. Like, I was ready. Here's some pictures from that game. Well, the game against Churchville was actually not that bad. They only scored 1 touchdown in the first half, and then we blocked their field goal, and then basically Victor just took over the game. Like, our offense was doing great. One of our really good players returned a punt. It wasn't that far. It was kind of a short one, but it is what it is. It was a great game. It was all Victor, just destroying them throughout the game. You know, everyone had fun. It was a fun bus ride back. We got to see the beautiful city of Rochester's skyline at night, which is really beautiful to look at, really satisfying. There's nothing really else I can say. All I can say is we blew out Churchville, you know. Like, it was a total easy win for us, that game. And all I can say is for week 3, we were ready to play a crosstown rival called Pittsford in week 3. So, ever since I joined Victor Football, I've always wanted to play against Pittsford. You know, I knew how they were as a fan base. You know, they're cocky. They think like they're like the richest town of Rochester. They think they're such billionaires. Like, yes, there are a lot of rich neighborhoods in Pittsford, but like, there's other rich neighborhoods in other towns in Rochester, like Fairport and all. You know, I can name every single one of them, but like, yeah. I had a friend from BOCES who went to Pittsford, and he'd always say like, oh, if you guys faced up against my football team, you guys will get stoned and stuff like that. So I haven't talked to him in a long time, but I remember like I was ready for this game. I knew this was going to be like one of the biggest games. I remember I was really nervous. I was so nervous for this game. I remember during the Friday of it in my special ed class, I remember I was explaining I was really nervous, and this one girl who's she has like special needs, she was in my special ed class, She's really nice. You know, she's actually kind of like a motivational talker, I guess you can say. She said, I believe that Victor will beat them. I believe that we will, you know, beat them in every single play and stuff like that. I have high hopes for Victor. I believe Victor can beat Pittsford. I don't think Pittsford has no chance. She legit said that. And I was like, holy shit, did you just really say that? Like, damn. Like, I didn't know if Jesus came down from the sky and said that and possessed her. I don't know what it was, but oh my God. I was in shock. Like, wow. You really said that. And I know my voice was a little kind of down and stuff like that because I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, but like all I knew, I don't care how bad my voice sounds. It may not sound the best, but let me tell you, I'm excited for the game against Pittsford. Like what they say, under a full moon, anything could happen. The first part of the game, Pittsford scored 2 touchdowns. Well, one was a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. But then, Victor started to stir things up. Victor's offense was doing good in the air, on the ground. Yes, they were in total control. And their defense did good too. Especially when we were walking in before halftime. You know, our student section was booing their team, I remember, and one of the security guards was not really happy about it. But still, it was a fun game. Yes, my voice was kind of hurting, but still, I got as loud as I could. I gave it all it got. It was a good game, you know. There's nothing really else I remember from it. Just, you know, we had a really big student section that came for Victor. It's going to show it right there. We had a huge student section down there with the number 18 jersey. That's one of my friends from school. I actually went to junior prom with her. Right there, that's one of the assistant coaches, Coach Mick. He's a pretty cool dude. He's funny too. You can get a good laugh out of him. And here's the student section. You know, this was a really good game. This was one of the games that Victor was really looking forward to. You know, crosstown rival, Pittsford. You know, most of the Victor players knew the Pittsford players growing up. They've played each other multiple times from the Pee Wee football to modified freshman and then JV and then with the big boy varsity team. And yes, Victor pulled out a pretty good win. It was a really big crowd. And we knew after when we beat Pittsford that we're just going to keep on pounding. We're going to just keep going. We could possibly go till the end. And I knew it. So then, it was week 4. Webster Schroeder. You know, I remember my first ever Victor football team with the JV team that Coach Andre used to coach with. I remember we beat Webster Schroeder in the last second. And, you know, I thought to myself, like, you know, like, I knew that Webster Schroeder was going to be tough. Feels like every game against Webster Schroeder I've been with, like, Victor is so close to losing the game, but they never end up losing it. It's kind of crazy. But, like, you know, I remember that week something happened in BOCES. This one teacher aide, her name was, like, I think Mrs. M. I don't remember. I think it was something like that. She was really nice. She was a teacher aide from Pittsford. She was very, very nice, very funny. She had the personality of this one girl who I'm friends with at NAS. I'm not going to say her name or anything like that, but, like, you know, she actually does remind me of her and stuff like that. I don't know. She was really, the teacher was getting really angry and upset and really getting impatient and stuff like that. I remember I was getting so overwhelmed that I walked out of the room upset, and how she confronted me was perfect. Like, she was so kind. Like, I was just, she said, if you were my son, I would have gave you a hug. And I'm like, that was so sweet. And then I started to smile, and I thought, oh, that was very sweet of you. And then, like, she said, like, just told me to breathe in, breathe out. It was so nice of her. You know, I felt calm, but it got worse at practice. So there's another kid who was equipment, another team manager. He was an equipment manager. He used to always, because he knew I was the new kid. He knew, like, you know, I'm autistic and I have, like, a different type of occupational my occupational work pace is really, you know, different than his. He would yell at me and saying, like, oh my god, your work, you're like, you know, he's making fun of, like, how I do things and stuff like that, how my occupational work is like. I remember that day, I told him I'm not going to put up with it, because, you know, I just had a rough day, but even though she turned it around, the teacher turned it around for me, I don't need any more. And he kept on going on and on, and I was yelling, he was like, oh, I'm going to do this more and more, and you're going to learn from it. I remember, after when he left, I remember I was talking to my mother on the phone. I'm like, this kid expects me to be in the military. I don't want to be in the military. I want to be a coach when I grow up. Well, that's one of my jobs. That's actually one of my jobs now, but I remember the head coach of Victor heard me yelling. He wanted to know if I was okay, and then I remember he called my mother, you know, was talking, and he was like, you know, talking to my mom, saying, I'm the coach, you know, is your son okay? Is he going through problems? She did explain that I was having trouble getting along with one of the team managers who was mocking my occupational work and stuff like that, and how I work, and, you know, my occupational work skills and stuff like that. He says he will try to keep an eye on it and stuff like that. And I was all calm and everything was all good, and everyone all asked if I was okay. I said, I'm fine. I remember then I had, like, a conversation with Coach, and it was a good conversation. You know, we were talking about football, I was talking about New York Giants football. I even talked about some Section 5 football games. I think there was one against Wilson and Brockport. It was a game from 2015, and he said that Wilson's in, like, a Catholic league. They're not in the Catholic league. They're in the RCSD league, but I said, like, some schools I would love to play against. And he's like, oh, that's a Catholic school. Oh, that's a school from, like, oh, that's one of the RCSD schools and stuff like that. And, you know, I was really looking forward to playing against Schroeder. You know? I remember, like, there was a drone flying around the campus, and people were saying, like, you know, one of the Schroeder players were trying to spy on to cheat to beat Victor and stuff like that. I remember. I don't know, but it was pretty crazy. You know, I got to hear Ryan Flight say, I fucking hate Webster Schroeder again. You know, I loved every time when he would say that. You know, that's the quote I'll remember forever. And, like, what else was I gonna say? During one of the team dinners, we were at the one park in Victor. We were having a food taco truck, I think it was. So, I've said this in one of my other vlogs. There was this one girl who was in my special ed class who I was crushing on. You know, the thing was, she had a lot of problems. Like, you know, she was hanging out with troubled kids who do drugs, and, you know, she has no supervision and stuff like that. She hangs out with, like, really bad kids and stuff like that, who do bad choices and stuff like that. You know, I tried to get her to like me and stuff like that, and I would always do things and stuff like that. I shared it to the football team and my friend Z Money, and they're, like, making fun of me, like, ooh, and, like, some other girls who I like, you know, they're making fun of me saying, ooh, you like her, and, like, you know, doing the typical bust your balls type jokes. I remember I was really getting embarrassed. I remember one of them said it, and this is when the dab was popular. I used to do that as my touchdown celebration. I remember I said, shut the fuck up, and I dabbed, and I remember they all thought that was funny. I remember I talked to her on social media about, like, oh, they're making fun of me about it, and she just kind of laughed and played along. But it got worse after a while. Like, you know, she was getting harassed by the football players and stuff like that. The other two girls that they're making fun of, like, they weren't bothering her, but it was just that one girl they were targeting, I remember. But, you know, besides that, I was ready for the game against Webster Schroeder. So the game against Webster Schroeder on varsity was a lot different than the JV game. The JV one, we were falling behind, but then in the last second with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, we made it out alive. This game was somewhat good, but it's just Victor should have done a lot better than they did, because next week we were supposed to be playing a team that knocked us out of the playoffs the year before. Yes, Victor won, but the score, on the other hand, was not really... didn't really have a lot of points. It was only 14-7. And it was fun. The coaches were not really happy about how they played. At least they won, but they just wish that they've done a lot better. I just feel like every time we've played Webster Schroeder, every single game it feels like it looks like Victor's about to slip away, but then all of a sudden Schroeder just makes a mistake, and then after that Victor comes out on top. Victor won, but it was an ugly win. But the good thing is we came out on top. And then the next game, we were going to play Rush Henrietta on their homecoming. It's kind of loud with pipes and stuff. I'm in my basement, but anyway. I remember Rush Henrietta's football field. It was an old school looking football field. With the grass, no lights. Just looks vintage. Retro. It was their homecoming, and we were going to play on their homecoming game. I remember, the day before the game, I remember the coaches were talking about, last year they lost to them. They beat us for the first time and knocked us out of the playoffs. And I remember one of the coaches was talking about, after when they lost to them, their fans were, taunting them and stuff like that. And, they heard, what was going on in their locker room and stuff like that. And, I really wanted to win that game because I remember when I used to go to BOCES, in one of my BOCES class, I did the second one. No, the first one, actually. My friend was from Rush Henrietta, and he was making fun of me about it. And I thought to myself, here we go. Here's the revenge. And this revenge game was supposed to teach them that, you might have beaten us last year, but this is a whole new Victor team, whole new Victor team. But, before we said all that, one of the coaches said, because we didn't play that good in the Schroeder game, he said, where's the team that beat Aquinas? Where's the team that beat Churchville? Where's the team that beat Pittsford? He's like, you better do good in this game because, this team, Rush Henrietta, they're in a little bit of a losing streak and they need a win. And they're saying that, they really want to beat Victor for a second time. They got a chance on us the year before. They want to swipe us. So I realized that, tomorrow, we're going to show them that, this is a new Victor team that you guys are playing against. From the start, Victor did score a touchdown, but they overturned it. But that didn't last long. Yes, Rush Henrietta scored, but then after that, Victor just took over. They were doing a great job. It wasn't really an ugly score like it was against Schroeder. We were playing a lot more better and stuff like that. I remember during halftime, I saw the banner of when they won the state championship back in 2010. And I thought to myself, well, guess what? We're getting one next, so you better watch out. And yes, I remember who they played in that championship. It was the Flying Horses, Troy, out of Section 2. And I thought to myself, if we went to the Dome, that's who I would like to play. The same team they played. Maybe we can kind of pull them off and do the same thing that Rush Henrietta's 2010 team did. But besides that, Victor did a good job. We did have a few injuries. And it was a really good outcome win. It was a big revenge from what happened last year. And next up was homecoming against Fairport. So, here we go. The homecoming game of 2016 against Fairport. I remember homecoming week is always fun. We got to do fun activities and stuff like that. So you probably remember earlier in the video I talked about that one girl who I was crushing on who was in my class. It was so ridiculous because she promised that she was going to be doing stuff with me, and she broke the promises. She said she was going to do something with me. Yeah, I was walking to the place we were going to go, and then I looked back, she was gone. I was messaging her, what did you do? What did you do? What did you do? I was like, why are you not here? And stuff like that. it took her a long time for her to, I kept on messaging her until, like, she said, oh, sorry, an incident happened. I know that was not true. She was just trying to make an excuse to not be around me. And then, I remember the day before the game, you know, before the team dinner, like, you know, the team was talking. Like, you probably remember, we would say, you know, the F word, stuff like that, I would say. So in this one, we said, fuck Fairport on 3, 1, 2, 3, fuck Fairport! And because I knew that Fairport was supposed to be one of the toughest opponents because of their quarterback they had at the time. I think his quarterback's name is Sean Howard, I think. If I'm right. Yeah, because that was supposed to be one of our toughest opponents. So I shouted, right after when they said, fuck Fairport on 3, 1, 2, 3, fuck Fairport, I shouted, in the ass! Like, because I wanted to kick their ass so bad. I remember they were all laughing and stuff like that. It wasn't until the day of the game, you know, we did a lot of fun stuff. I remember we watched the prep rally. I remember she promised that she was going to do something with me before the game. I saw her. She was sitting on the other side, and she left. I remember I was looking for her, and I remember I got so mad that I had, like, a mental breakdown. I was raging. I was losing it. I was losing my shit like crazy. And, I just remember, like, oh my gosh, like, at least I calmed down. One of the counselors talked to me. She said that, you know, it wasn't her fault, you know, just she forgot, you know. The reason why she basically did it, because she didn't want to be around me, because I know how I basically, now when I look back at it, I know why she did that, because she didn't want to be around me, she didn't want to be near me. You know, she wants to be with her troubled kids and her troubled friends who she thinks are the best. But besides that, let's get to the game. So, the homecoming of 2016. Victor versus the Fairport Red Raiders. I was excited and a little nervous because I knew how Fairport's football team and their quarterback was. But we still managed to get into the game, and we played really good. It was very surprising, especially because Fairport's student section, their traveling student section, was chirping us every time we scored a touchdown. But that didn't stop us from making more points. And I remember my father and my uncle were at the game. I remember walking in at halftime, and I'm seeing them wave. I'm like, oh, there they are. It was a good game. But towards the end of the game, Fairport's student section, I look over to the bleachers where they were sitting. I look over, it was gone. And I was like, where'd they go? Well, because they were getting beat so bad that they just left. Well, Fairport was supposed to be our tough opponent, but the plot twist was we were the tough opponent to them. So then, for the season finale, last but not least, senior night against Webster Thomas. I remember I was really looking forward for the senior class of 2017, my bad. You know, we're going to have a big ceremony and stuff like that. I remember before the game, like, you know, they were giving shout outs to the seniors. I remember they did one for my friend Z Money, and I remember, like, you know, there was a little ceremony thing about him, which was really awesome. And I think he even got to speak in it as well. And also, one of the girls on the cheer teams, I was friends with them, also did as well. But after the game, I mean, not after the game, but after all that, it was game time. Oh, the game against Webster Thomas went really good. Here's my friend Z Money with his award. Victor's offense and defense did a good job. Their offense was in the air, on the ground, and they were just controlling it, taking the driver's seat. I remember there were a lot of good plays, and I remember Webster Thomas only scored one touchdown in that game. I remember, like they couldn't even stop us. Like, we were just all over them throughout the game. We were in their face. We were just tackling them, not letting them get in the end zone. Webster Thomas just kept on turning the ball over. It was just insane. But after that was sectionals, and we were ready to go for a run on the road to the Dome. And then we start off with sectionals. The first round of the playoffs was going to be on our home field at Victor Schools. I was wondering, who are we going to play? I found out we were going to play East High, which is one of the city schools in the Rochester City School District. At first I was shocked and kind of nervous at the same time, because I remember on my JV season, the first ever Victor football season, we played a school from the Rochester City School District, and we choked and blew the lead. But, you know, the reason why we lost that game was because Monroe had juniors and seniors. They had varsity players on that JV team, which was kind of wrong, but, you know, it is what it is. But I was looking forward to the game. I knew the weather was going to be really bad. Like, it was going to be pouring rain, freezing cold, but at least I had the right clothes on for it and stuff like that. But no matter what, I don't care what the weather was outside. I don't care if it was pouring rain like crazy. I was looking forward to it. I was looking forward to the game. And when it was game time, I was ready. The game ended up being really good. Well, the start was kind of tough because a player from East got hurt, and they had to put the ambulance on the field because he couldn't get up. That was kind of scary, though. I actually do kind of feel bad for that player. But, you know, it was a good game. The East High fans, there weren't a lot of East High fans. Well, especially because it was raining, but, you know, they were on the other side. There were some that were sitting in the Victor bleachers. I remember some of them were kind of chirpy, but, you know, they didn't really have anything else to say. It was a great game, and I'm really amazed on how good Victor played in this type of weather. I was like, wow, they did great. Like, I was kind of nervous because most of the games we had, well, except for the Henrietta game. Well, the Henrietta game, it kind of rained, but this one, it was pouring like crazy, and I thought, like, don't mess up, but they actually did really great. And I remember, well, I kept on cursing on the sideline, and one of the coaches told me enough with the cursing and stuff like that, but oh well. That's just me being me, you know. Boys will be boys. But, you know, when I was going through the line with the East High fans, or East High players, I mean, they actually had a girl player, which was amazing. But Victor had a big win. Next stop, Paytech Park to play Mcquaid. So then, the second round of the playoffs, we played Mcquaid Jesuit at Paytech Park. You know, same weather, you know, it's cloudy, kind of drizzly and stuff like that, but no matter what, we were ready for the game. I remember it was not really a long bus ride, but, you know, we didn't have a lot of fans, but still, we had fun. And here are some pictures from the game. Well, yes, there was sloppy weather in this game as well, but still, we won. And there were some problems, like some of the refs we had were kind of flagging us for no apparent reason. I think they were just probably trying to do that just to get the coach's attention. But no matter what, it was a great game. You know, it was a good win. And we knew after beating Mcquaid, we knew what team was going to be against us when we hit the final. Like, I knew it. Even from the beginning, I knew who our opponent was going to be. it wasn't until I knew it from the beginning we were going to face Pittsford. You know, after walking off after the Mcquaid game, like, I saw their, you know, their jerseys and stuff like that. Like, oh, they're trying, you know, they had the alternative gray jerseys, which those jerseys looked like complete crap and stuff like that. Oh, because they probably think, oh, our jerseys are so fly. I'm like, yeah, I better not see those jerseys again. And I was ready that Friday for the Section 5 Class AA title against Pittsford. At first, it was kind of tough playing against them because they kept on stopping us on offense a few times. But with a little patience, we did the best we could. We tried, and we started to get things cooking. I remember the crowd that day, or that night. I remember was really loud, crazy. I remember I was going crazy too. I remember during one of the plays, I imitated Odell Beckham Jr. punching the kicking net. I remember I did tell my parents about it, and I thought, oh, they're going to be mad at me. But no, they actually thought it was funny, though. They laughed because, you know, they know that I find some of that stuff funny. But yeah, it was a great game. I just remember going crazy, you know, shouting on the sideline. And I remember before the clock ticked down, I asked the coach, when do you want me dumping out the water? He said, when everyone's all celebrating, going crazy, you can start throwing the water in the air. I don't care what you do. Just go crazy. Give me all you got. Like, he was kind of doing something like that. There's the student section from that night. It was just, you know, crazy. Here's another picture. There were so many pictures from this game. Right, coming up right here is a picture of the crowd. My parents were in this picture, but they had to get cropped out because I didn't want the label. But here was the celebration. Right when that buzzer went off, we all went crazy. I went crazy. And everyone went crazy. We were all happy for the win. And then we went through the line, shook hands. There was the awards. And then we were off to the Western Regional Final. I found out we were playing Section 6's Lancaster. I was looking forward to it, but I was nervous because I knew that they were going to be really, really tough. So then, after winning that sectional title against Pittsford, I was ready for the Western Regionals. We were going to be playing in the Bills Stadium. You know, I've always wanted to go to an NFL stadium, you know. I've always wanted to go into the Giants Stadium, you know, go to a Giants game. But, you know, even though it wasn't the Giants Stadium, you know, I was really looking forward playing a game in there, you know. The games in between the Victor Lancaster game, like, there was other games. The game before us was, you know, Bishop Kearney against Cleveland Hill, and then the game after ours was Dunkirk and Batavia. Dunkirk's actually the school my mother went to, and, you know, I thought to myself, oh, it'd be cool if they get to win a state championship, because usually they're not that good in football, you know, and that year they were somewhat good. But, like, yeah, I was ready for this game. I knew that this game was going to be the best. And it was an amazing experience playing at New Era Field or the Bill Stadium or whatever they call it. But it was crazy. I remember when they were announcing the team names. I remember when they said Lancaster Legends. I remember, like, Ryan Flights, who was one of the players, like, their team's called the Legends? Dude, that is the stupidest name for a team. And stuff like that. And I just remember, like, I hope we win this game because I knew that they were going to be really tough. They had, like, two really good players that were extremely fast, I remember. Before halftime, one of them returned a punt or a kick. And then I remember in the fourth quarter, one of them scored a touchdown in the last second and was close enough to almost winning the game. I remember I was so angry, I shouted, "God damn it!" And, like, one of the coaches heard it, and then they told me to stay on the bench because, you know, you can't swear. But then I got back up, and they said, "Don't worry, buddy, you're okay, you can get up now. Just don't swear, okay?" But I knew, like what I said, under a full moon, anything could happen. And it did. We blocked that field goal. We got the ball back. We got a first down. And we got to win the game. And then we were moving on to the semifinal, which we weren't sure who we were going to play. But then I found out it was another tough opponent. So then, for the semifinal, we were going to play Christian Brothers Academy, or CBA. I actually found out that school is actually down the street from my grandfather's old house. My grandfather and my dad's side of the family, their first house they had in Syracuse was actually down the street. Their neighborhood was down the street from that school. I remember, yes, I heard that they were really, really good. They had like so many commits to football and stuff like that. I also remember I got an interview by the Democrat and Chronicle News here in Rochester about, like, they interviewed me, Z-Money, and, you know, it was talking about us and, like, what we do with the football team. I'll try to find I'll show you a picture of the article right here. Here are some pictures from that Democrat and Chronicle article of me and my friend Z-Money. Here's a picture of us two holding the football. It's a great picture. I like that. There's me with former quarterback Clay Blyer, giving him a high five. And then right here is me, Z-Money, and that's our defensive coach, Coach Ojeda. He's a pretty nice guy. Pretty cool. But then, it wasn't until it was either Friday or Saturday, I don't remember when the game was, we played CBA. I remember everyone at both seats was wishing me good luck. I remember my friend Alex was telling me, like, oh, you better beat them. Well, sometimes he was kind of joking around. But, like, yeah, I remember that game. It was crazy. It was rain/snow. It was just like that Giants-Bills game from the 2007 Giants season when they went to Super Bowl 42, that game to make it to clinch a playoff berth. You know, it was the same weather in that game. But besides that, here's how the game went. It was a really good game. It was freezing. When I was yelling on the sideline, one of the coaches called me out for shouting, but I told Coach Mick about it, and he said, you know, Jake, don't worry about it. That's just how he is. But besides that, you know, this is probably one of the best games so far. And, you know, no one expected us to beat a really good team with so many commits and stuff like that. And then, the state championship. We were off to the Class AA final of the Road to the Dome. I remember, you know, during the locker room after the CBA game, the one manager who I said who would always insult my occupational skills, he was mad because I didn't do something. He got in my face and, you know, he started eyeballing me, and it made me feel very uncomfortable. It was getting me really, I was shaking, I remember, because it scared me. I said, like, stop it, leave me alone. Like, the coach had to, you know, pull him away and stuff like that. At the time, I was thinking, like, yeah, don't even, like, hit me. I don't care if you hit me. I've been hit so many times. Like, seriously, just hit me, because you're gonna go to jail, and I won't care, because my face is just gonna be bleeding, and I'm just gonna miss a tooth like I played my first game of hockey. Like, you know, I don't know. I asked someone who knows him really well, what's that mean when he eyeballs you like that? That means he's dominating. Like, when he doesn't get what he wants, he dominates the person when he doesn't get his way from the person. It just, what I tried to teach him, you know, is I don't like being toyed like that, you know? If you're gonna be respectful and nice, that's fine. But if you're gonna start insulting, like, how my occupational work skills are, it's not right. That's just totally just rude. But besides that, I was excited. So yeah, we enjoyed the week practicing it in the Pinnacle Center in Victor. You know, it was really fun. An incident happened at the vending machine, but, you know, I still don't get, it still doesn't make sense. I ordered something, And then I forgot to reset it, and then one of the coaches ended up getting my drink, and like, I don't know, he wouldn't trade it and stuff like that. This coach I didn't know that well, but just what I've heard from others is like he's impatient, he always wants to get his way with everything. I get it. But, you know, it was a misunderstanding. He didn't know. He gave me a quarter, and it wasn't the right amount of money. So, yeah. But no matter what, I was looking forward to it. And I remember the day before the game, you know, we had the practice, and I remember, oh my gosh, we went to the team dinner, and I remember it was at my friend's house, and this kid lived in like a mansion almost. It was dope. I remember we were partying in the garage, we were listening to music. I was dancing to this one song I used to dance to during that year, El Chapo. That was my song at that time. Oh my gosh, it was fun. And I remember my friend Andrew drove me home, and he was driving like crazy, but you know, we were ready for tomorrow. Started to make a comeback until our last final drive. So my friend Chris scored a touchdown. A field goal would have taken it to overtime, but we tried a 2-point conversion, and suddenly it didn't work. Well, Troy won their first title since 1996 and 1998. From this day on, I still wish Victor won that game. Like I keep on looking at the instant replay of that 2-point conversion. You know, like they could have just thrown it to tight end Mike Nowitzki, who now plays at UB. Like, look I keep on watching the replay. He was wide open. Like, I feel like they should have thrown it to him. I don't know. But like, you know, coach was saying, you know, we could have made a field goal and maybe take it to overtime and stuff like that. But, you know, like, they put it in the players, well, when we tried to stop them on 4th down, they put it in the player's best hand, and then that was it, you know? There's nothing they can do, but, yeah, it was sad. I felt for the seniors that year. I felt for the coaches. And to be honest with you, I felt bad for my friend Z-Money, because, you know, because it was his senior year, and, you know, I really wanted to have one good moment with him. But I knew I was going to see him again when we meet up in our program at Nazareth College. But, you know, I bet no one didn't want it to end that way, but, you know, you can't win them all. That's just how it is. But, you know, there's a lot of great memories and stuff like that from that team. That's why I always tell myself I just want to go back to my junior year of high school. Not just because of football, but also, if you remember the girl who I was talking about in the story, the one who broke promises for me, I started getting in trouble with her and stuff like that. Like, I was doing things that she didn't like, and then, I don't know, she said something, I didn't like it, and I got mad, and I got in trouble for it. And then I got in trouble again, and I almost got a 3-week suspension, but luckily, you know, I turned it around. I thought to myself, you know, you gotta turn yourself around. Well, I got to go to the lacrosse game, the boys lacrosse games, and, you know, I got to see them win their 3rd title for Victor Boys Lacrosse, and the one thing I was looking forward to is my senior year, you know? I'm thinking, I hope my senior year of football, we get to do what class of 2017 never got to do. And I was ready for football on my senior year.